You don't put money over the important things that you can't buy. Love rejoices in truth. It didn't say love rejoices in giving somebody money. But guess what? I would give you my last dollar. Go ahead.
You know, the enemy has done a really good job at just making it where if you tell the truth today and if you're even trying to do it in love, it comes off as hate to a lot of people, you know.
Because they don't know what love is.
Right. And it's just, it's crazy.
If I have, you know, I got these little band, Exodus 3:15, Yahweh, Acts 4:12, Yashra'al. If I had the word live right here on here, and I'm telling you, it says live right here. You look at it from my perspective, it does say live. But then you look at it from the other perspective in a mirror, what does it say? Evil. It looks similar, looks the same, but it's not. It's a mirror image. And that's what the devil gives us, mirror images. It looks like holiness, but it's not. Looks like righteousness, but it's not. Looks like you're being nice, but it's not. Looks like love, but it's jealousy and hate. That's how the devil operates, those mirror images. Looks like they're right beside you. They're not. Go ahead.
Love never fails, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away.
So when the full entirety of love comes back, Yah and Yeshua has given everything over to him, then all those things that we knew in part and you know we didn't quite understand, all that is going away, and you have full-time love, and you will know and you will understand love because you'll be in the presence of Yah, his entirety. We just getting some of him. We're not clean enough to get close to him. Go ahead.
When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things.
All right, so when I was a child, I thought as a child. But you a grown man. How long you going to be thinking like a child? How long, and we looking at it as a child from a child perspective of understanding, not of humble nature. That's not what we're talking about here. When you ignorant like a child, you tell a child, you know, a fat white man then slid down a chimney and put a lump of coal in your stuff because you didn't do your homework. That child be depressed. He'll believe that. Why we still believe in these foolish tales? Why? Because we want to believe lies. Go ahead.
For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love.
The greatest, because that's the manifestation of faith and hope, is love. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Galatians chapter 4. So we don't want to think like children anymore when it comes to spiritual understanding. But what happens if that's where your understanding is? You just get stuck there. You get stuck in that understanding. So then you have to do something about it. But we think that, you know, we're just going to know stuff. We're just going to, you know, the Holy Spirit going to come and we just going to just be super smart and we just think we're better than what we are. Like we don't have to be taught. We have to be taught. How should one know unless somebody teach them?
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 1. Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differs nothing from a servant, though he be owner of all.
All right. The heir. What's the heir?
Someone who's receiving the promises.
Somebody who's receiving the inheritance. He's the heir. He's the next in line. He's about to receive this inheritance. But he doesn't just get that automatically because he's the heir. He's got to tarry. He's got to wait on something. But when he's a child, you don't give him the inheritance. Why? Because he thinks like a child. He talks like a child. So if he thinks and talks like a child, he does what? He does childish things. You don't turn over inheritance, all that somebody has, over to somebody that's going to do childish things. So what does Yah do? I'm just going to cast him away because he's a child. He does childish things. Nah. I'm going to make you serve. Even though you master of all of this is yours. You control this whole world. But you're going to learn how to control this world and operate this world in righteousness and holiness. Not like the rest of these Gentiles, how they did things. Not how your forefathers did things. The right way. If I want you to be a manager of a route, then you need to run the route. You need to run routes. You need to be out there at 9 o'clock at night trying to find addresses you can't see crap because it's dark. You can't see the bell. So when you sending somebody out there, be like, look, you can't get this new guy 150 packages. You know he ain't going to finish. He going to be out 10 o'clock at night driving past the same house 10 times because he can't see nothing. So he wants us to be good masters of all. So he says serve. This is what we're supposed to be doing, serving if we want to be the heirs, the master of all. And I'll give you a clue. We the heirs. We're the heirs. Go ahead.
But as under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father.
So this is what he did to us. He gave us tutors and governors until the appointed time. So we have teachers, we have pastors, we have the angels, we have different schools, Bible studies, parents, people he put in our life to be examples, to show us and keep us in the way until it's our time. Go ahead.
Even so, we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of the time was come, Yahweh sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons.
So when we were under the law, when we messed up, we had to go do this animal sacrifice. If we didn't, we died. Nah, listen. I am the Elohim. He said, who is he? He's the Elohim of the living or the Elohim of the dead? Which one did he say he was?
The Elohim of the living.
He said, I am the Elohim of the living. Yeshua said, you don't know what manner of all you serve. He's the Elohim of the living. What you trying to kill people for? So he's saying, my son, he don't got to kill something. As long as he's contrite and humble in his heart and truly sorry, then he'll be all right. So this is why we were adopted as sons. We not like the rest of the world. They got to do an offering to show that they did something wrong. Go ahead.
And because you are sons, Yahweh has sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father.
So because we are sons, and when we become sons, that's what our spirit does. It starts to cry out to the Father like a baby. Man, like the baby does when it's first born, it cries. When he gets older, it puts his hands up. Like this. This is what a baby does when he wants you to pick him up. You remember that, Will? Mm-hmm. Like this. Can't even speak. So what we do now? Father. Crying out to the Father. That's what we doing. That's a spirit. Everybody else go like this. Cry out to their money. Go ahead.
And because you are sons, Yahweh has sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Wherefore you are no more a servant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of Yahweh through Mashiach.
All right. So you are not a servant, but you are a son. So the servant, you don't get no inheritance. The son gets inheritance. But that son working just like everybody, just like how they have those movies where you got the prince, he out there fighting and training with all these other kids training that are servants. He got to learn too. But he's usually the best one and can fight the best and everything like that. But he still got to be out there. But he got a little bit more spirit than everybody else. Because he's a little bit better because he's the son that was given unto him. Go ahead.
Howbeit then, when you knew not Yahweh, you did service unto them which by nature are no Elohim. But now, after that you have known Elohim, or rather are known of Elohim, how turn you again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto you desire again to be in bondage? You observe days and months and times and years. I am afraid of you, lest I have bestowed upon you labor in vain.
All right, so understand who he's talking to. He's talking to the Galatians. These are the Greeks that had 365 days, and every single day there was a god that they had to worship. It's day this, so let me turn and worship the god of the flies, Lord of Beelzebub. Oh, it's this day. Let me worship the wind. So we Israelites being freed from this stuff, saying, look, we're not dealing with this stuff, but we still going to do these pointless worships. Oh, you know, the stars in the 5th position. The moon is out here doing this. So, oh, let me just go fast and cleanse because this is that. What? Why wouldn't you stay righteous and holy every day? Go ahead.
Brethren, I beseech you, be as I am, for I am as you are. You have not injured me at all. You know how through infirmity of the flesh I preached the good news unto you at the first. And my temptation which was in my flesh you despised not, nor rejected, but received me as an angel of Elohim, even as Mashiach Yeshua.
Now, what I always wanted to know, what is this temptation he talking about? Now, we know the brother had no wife. You talking about, hey, look here, bro. It's better that none of y'all get married. But if you can't stop yourself, it's better that you get married rather than burn. Because he understands, listen, man, it's hard to have a family and a wife and do all this stuff and do the kind of works he's doing. He's constantly traveling. Man, your woman will never let you get away with that. So I'm starting to see more and more what this temptation, this thorn he might keep having inside. You be a normal man and be without a woman and see if that ain't a thorn in your side. If we were meant to be that way, or it was okay for us to be that way, we would cease to be existing. Because we would get hurt. Men would get hurt one time and say, I'm through. That's it. I don't even like them. I don't even like the way she smell. But that's not how we were created.
Where is then the blessedness you spoke of? For I bear you record that if it had been possible, you would have plucked out your own eyes and have given them to me. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
If they began telling the truth, they would say, yeah, I only wanted to hear this truth. This truth right here is against me. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm trying to hear the truth that's against them so I can talk about them. You an enemy because now you're making me look like them. Now let's make them look bad.
They zealously affect you, but not well. Yea, they would exclude you that you might affect them. But it is good to be zealously affected always in a good thing, and not only when I am present with you.
So it's good to be zealous in a good thing. Oh, you know, you're a super brew. You're in a good thing. Be a super brew in a good thing. Don't be a super brew in something that's not good.
My little children, of whom I travail in birth again until Mashiach be formed in you, I desire to be present with you now and to change my voice, for I stand in doubt of you.
Now, when he's talking about this, my little children in whom I travail in birth again, he's saying in dealing with you new people, there's a pain that comes along with that. Because I'm trying to help you be born. I'm trying to help you come into the spiritual realm. But you are still unborn. You still lacking the spirit. So you're going to do things which is going to cause me a lot of headache and pain and just suffering. So you just cast them to the side? Nah, the woman, she don't just abort herself. She suffers through the pain, but that child don't care. That child is given as much pain as possible. So we got to look at each other in that sense when you're dealing with people, or when you're responsible for somebody in this word, or you're working with somebody in this word. It's going to be a painful process because it's a birth process coming here. But that baby could be in the womb and think he grown all he want, but it's not. It's blind. Baby in the womb is blind, but it can hear. Why is that? Why are we born that way? Well, we can't see, but we can hear. Go ahead.
Tell me, you that desire to be under the law, do you not hear the law? For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, the one of a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise. Which things are an allegory? For those are the 2 covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which genders to bondage, which is Agar. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answers to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
So Jerusalem is the assembly, is the body. The body, we are born into the body of Mashiach, which made us free from that law of sin and death. For a time period, he bought us that grace. That first is in Arabia, which is that mixed doctrine. There's a little bit of life and there's a little bit of death. No, we free from that. We were released from that. Now all we have to do is seek life. Go ahead.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. For it is written, rejoice, you barren, you bearest not, break forth and cry. You that travails not, for the desolate has many more children than she which has a husband.
Because you have a spiritual family now. So you got one person that's getting married and having kids, and their whole life is about taking care of the family, but they're not doing the works. Then you have another person who didn't have children, and they're dedicating their life to this works. And they got plenty of children because they got family. Because the woman that got 5 kids, that's her kids too. And the woman that got 2 kids, that's her kids too. Because they're all in a family now. Go ahead.
Now we, brethren, as Yishak was, are the children of promise. But as then he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the spirit, even so it is now.
He that was born after the flesh, which is all of us, were born after the flesh, persecuted him that was born after the spirit. Once we were born after the spirit, the flesh persecutes us. Now, that's other people's flesh persecuting us. But this is also talking about your own flesh persecuting you. Your own flesh leading you into problems. You're like, man, I just can't escape this flesh. Doesn't change. Because you have both flesh and spirit until you get that new body. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, what says the scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free woman.
He who will give up his life will gain it. He who tries to hold on to his life is going to lose it. Give up that flesh. Cast that bondwoman out. That old fleshly way of doing things. That first Agar thing. Cast that out. That's not going to have inheritance in the kingdom. Flesh and blood will not inherit the kingdom. Cast that out. Go ahead.
So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free.
Saul was so far ahead of everybody at that time. He was talking in that spiritual understanding. People were sitting here just still trying to learn commandments, right from wrong. A lot of them probably couldn't even, they were like, man, how we used to read this, it was like, this didn't make no sense. It was just a bunch of talk. But once you learn the foundations of these commandments and you start to walk in it, then these things start to make sense. These allegories and these metaphors start to make sense. All right, let's go to the conclusion. Let's go to Revelation chapter 21. Let's see the matter, conclusion of the matter.
Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, Yohanan, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of the heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
All right, so you have a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. When something passes away, dies or whatever, the body's still there. It's passed away. It's dead though. So there's no more sea, and it's different. So it doesn't mean the whole thing was completely destroyed. It doesn't exist. It means it passed away. It's not alive anymore. Then it talks about, I saw the holy city. It didn't say I saw the holy world coming down. No, it was something was coming down. If Jerusalem is the body, the mother of us all, the assembly, then New Jerusalem would be a new body, possibly. Go ahead.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Elohim is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Yahweh himself shall be with them, and be their Elohim.
That's what we tearing for. This is what we want. We crying out, Daddy. Then finally he's come here, son. I got you. That child is so happy, man. The other day, man, I picked up my daughter, you know, because my daughter is at their mother house, and, you know, they don't see me for a few days. And then I pick her up, my baby. Her birthday's coming up. You know, I don't know what happened, but she was just extra happy to see me this time. And she just was holding on to me. I was like, man, I was kind of freaked out a little bit. I was like, why you so, you know, what happened? That's just like almost like a metaphor of how we feel, you know, when the Father comes, when Yashra'al comes, and we just made it out, and we've been waiting on you. You just don't know what we've been going through, and you're here. Just hold them. Go ahead.
And Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
It's just like, you know, I had a video on Israelite gathering of this military person that came back from duty or whatever, and his mom was shopping with him in the grocery store, and it was his birthday, and he didn't think his dad was going to be on duty again, and his dad popped up, and his son just ran to him and just jumped up on him, grabbed him, and was holding him. He was just crying, boo-hoo crying, boo-hoo crying. He just missed his dad. It was so important to him. And this is the tears, to wipe away the tears. And that's just a little boy. That's just an example. That's how we will be when if we're honored to make it to that new city, and we get to hold on to the Father, and we get to hold on to these brothers that we read about in this book. Like, bruh, King David, you just don't know how much of your stuff got me through the things that I went through. How I felt like I went through these things, but I saw how you dealt with it, and it gave me the strength and the power to say, man, if he went through this, I ain't going through half of what he went through. I'll be all right. He's going to wipe away these tears. Plus, you're going to have the tears of all these people you love just wiped away. But when it's wiped away, that feeling, that pain, that death, all that's gone. You ain't going to have that no more. That part of life is gone. There's only the good part. There's no more the bondwoman and the heir together. The bondwoman is cast out. It's just the heir. It's just the love. It's just the perfectness of Mashiach. And he's not going to give that to everybody. After all this pain caused in the world, he's going to wipe away all your pain and let you come in there and cause pain?
And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and the murderers, and the whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
So notice the people that he's excluding. The first thing he says is the fearful and unbelieving. If you have no faith, that means you have no works. You're unbelieving, because if you believed, you would have faith and you would have the works. And the works doesn't mean you taught a Bible study. The works is in your walking life, your deeds, your day. Your works is also, man, I messed up. Let me fix this. Let me restore this. Let me pray about this. Let me find a way to not do this. Those are your works. Why? Because you're believing. You believe if I continue to do these things, I'm going to be left without. But if you don't believe, God knows my heart. I'll be all right. Because that guy murdered 10 people, so I'm good. So why he can't have you and the guy that murdered 10 people in the lake of fire? It was not enough room. Go ahead.
And there came unto me one of the seven angels which had the seven.
Finish that.
What was it? Oh, yeah.
Do we read that whole thing?
Oh, wait. And all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
All liars. Even the one that did that baby lie. Like, I knew his name was not Jesus, but, we can get more people that way. I mean, if that's how we're going to get to them. So it's your will. It's your will that these people get saved. It's not Yah's will. So you're going to do whatever it takes to get people. You fooling yourself. You just want a big congregation. You cannot create something with a lie. That's death. You're introducing death to somebody. Now, if you didn't know, you didn't know. Can you acknowledge that, hey, listen, I think you know him as this, but his name is really this. So I know who you're talking about when you say that. But when you promote that, you're promoting a lie. You're just comfortable with that lie. That's a lack of love. Because love rejoices for the truth. Just like you rejoice when you found out his real name. You're like, wow, that's his name? Wow, hallelujah. I don't want to call him that. I called him Yeshua first. Then Yahshua. But I was calling him Jeshua, Yeshua ben Yosef. Because I did a little Google and saw, I heard somebody say it on a rap song, whatever, Roz Cause or whatever. I was like, yeah, I knew his name wasn't Jesus. It didn't make Jesus. It just don't make sense. Then I learned his real name, Yahshua, because he has his father's name in him. Go ahead.
And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come here, I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Elohim, having the glory of Elohim, and her light was like unto a stone, most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Yashra'al. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the walls thereof. And the city lies foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, and fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, every several gate was of one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahweh El Shaddai and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of Elohim did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. And the nation of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it.
There's no need for sun and moon anymore, because those are for signs and for seasons and for days and for times. But this is the 8th day. It's one continuous long day. Every day is a Shabbat. Go ahead.
And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there, and they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it.
So there's no needs for gates to come into the kingdom for it to be closed. It's closed when it's not open for worship. But every day is worship, so it's open. There's no need to close it.
And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defiles, neither whatsoever works abomination or makes a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life.
All right, so this is what we're working for. This is what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to this kingdom. So fleeing this situation from this destruction that's coming upon this place to fulfill prophecy is just part of it. We're doing all of this with a goal in mind, which is to fulfill the prophecy of Yahweh bringing back his children from the north country and from all the other nations back into the land, back to prepare ourselves for that 8th day. So this is what our goal is. So whatever we do in our lives, whatever we go through, we should always keep that goal in mind, what I'm trying to get. Not, that old goal is I'm trying to go to heaven, not go to hell. No, I'm trying to be in the kingdom. I'm trying to be a citizen of the kingdom of New Jerusalem. And I'm an heir. That means he said, my Father has many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. It's already there. We already have our peace. I told you there's 12 gates. With the 12 tribes, it's already here. It's already prepared for us. So let his work not be in vain. Let it be there for us. So let's act like we believe it's there. So that's all we're going to do today. Any last questions or comments before we close in prayer? All right. Let's go ahead and end in prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings. And all sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east toward Jerusalem, where our temple was, and where our temple in Hamashiach shall return. Brother West, can you close us out in prayer, please?
Abba, Father, Yah, covenant Elohim of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov, sovereign Elohim. We pray to you, Father Yah. We know, Father Yah, that your kingdom is coming, Father Yah. We may not know how close it is, Father Yah, but we do know that we're in the latter days, Father Yah, for the signs are apparent, Father Yah. We just ask, Father Yah, that you give us a heart to do your will, Father Yah, and give us eyes that are set on your kingdom, Father Yah, and a mind that is constantly thinking of your kingdom, Father Yah. And we ask that you allow us to keep our focus there and not get lost in the concerns of this world, Father Yah, and give us a spirit that constantly seeks to do your will, Father Yah, and keep us strong, Father Yah, in trying to do your will, Father Yah, and stay close to you, Father Yah. For we know the world seeks to destroy us, Father God. This world of wickedness, Father God. So we ask that you keep us on the path, Father God, and help us protect that seed that you planted in us, Father God, so that it can flourish in your righteousness, Father God. And we pray that you can guide us, Father God, as we continue trying to walk with you, Father God. All those who you've called, Father God. In Yashra'al Mashiach's holy mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
That was great, man.
Hallelujah.